That's all on there. Head gasket's on, base gasket's on, rings are set in their dowels, pistons facing forward, you know, the arrows facing forward. That's all good. Torque wrench. Did anybody bring a torque wrench, or are we just gonna snug these bad boys down?
I'm not that skilled yet, and I tend to do the elbow torque. And then on the retorque, after it warms up,
Then
I take it a little more seriously and try to, you know, give it the.
You know, and usually I bring a
them.
torque wrench on these trips.
Now on this side,
This
I'll
time
do
I
it,
didn't.
but once it snugs down, I'll not. The power wrench could be too much torque.
Yeah.
Don't match.
So I'm just gonna, for speed's sake, just take them close.
I'll put these head bolts on.
All right, so you guys got to tell me when you guys get back to the original starting point so we can yell time.
This is just my guesstimation, but the 17 pounds would just be like as hard as you can do, like that, with a short wrench. And that might be just from experience with torque wrenches, but that's just my guess that this is about 17, 18 pounds. A longer wrench would be putting too much, but I think that's your 17, 18. Very lame amateurish.
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna back it down.
Wait.
What?
What part of it do you need?
This.
This. That.
Or he's gonna have to change his wiring harness as well.
Or just take the time and put another one of those on.
If you have one, yeah.
I do.
Oh, yeah, we should leave this.
This is those fancy little doohickeys that I put on. They're super simple. You just got to remember to follow the instructions, and that's it.
It's a nice looking set.
Yeah.
This is legit. Amazon?
Amazon, like 20 bucks.
Yeah.
Okay.
They got
Yeah.
We'll put a link on Oddball.
There you go.
Oh, those are the best.
Yeah. These solder still.
Oh, they change everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get you in there.
Okay, so in this case, to make this a lot easier and a lot faster, we're just going to cut that in the middle, and we're going to use Carl's things because they're a lot faster. So we're just going to use Carl's things. So I'm going to cut that right there. Watch this. Ah! Where's the third one, guys?
Okay, pulling this clutch off now.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Easy peasy.
We sit in trouble.
So
Oh,
now
there it is. There it
plate
is.
comes off. 3 pucks. Back these off real. They don't.
Is that thing still loaded?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can
you
see
gotta
it.
preload it before you bolt it down.
You got to at least do it flush with the outside of the face.
Unloading, you don't have to stay that flush, but loading it, you have to crank one, then the other, and back and forth so you don't kink it.
They make the little. It's like a little piece of
I've
aluminum.
got a bunch.
I don't
That-
have any.
That big collection, stadium collection I bought, it had he was a power plug dealer.
Oh. See, I've been just doing the C-clamp, but you know, you try to do that in the buggy, and it's like a whole
Yeah,
different
I got a
ball.
bunch of power block parts in those clamp things, and I even have a bunch of. I'm a power block
Okay.
dealer decals.
Yeah.
While you're watching that, here, look at this. Okay, if you look straight down on the, and you can see, it's like what, 1/8 of an inch, maybe 3/16 off.
Right.
Just
I don't know that much
a
about
little
power
bit
block
clockwise, and that's
I'm not even sure what.
that's what Chris Wortman told me to do. That's what I'm doing.
It's going.
Sure.
Yeah.
It was moving.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was turning.
There it is. Woohoo! I've been looking for a puller. If one of you guys happen to have one, do me a favor and comment in the link down below, and tell Robert, Oddball ORV, tell him that you know where the link is, or that you've added a link, and he'll get it to me.
Oh, the puller.
Charge them like 85 bucks for it.
Yeah, that's it. Charge me 85 bucks.
And that's specific to a power block, is that?
Yeah, you cannot. The one for the Salisbury's.
Bolts if you need that.
The Salisbury ones
That's
won't
what
work.
you're talking about.
Do
You
I?
have to be
I
power
have
block
those
specific.
polar bolts.
Yes, I am looking for one.
I
Okay.
don't know.
Just not with me.
Okay.
It's just thinner, right?
Yeah,
Narrower.
it's just thinner. Like for the one for the stock clutches is.
Are the threads the same?
No, they're different. They're different versus the Salisbury stock clutches.
As I say, because I could put that on a lathe and just, but if the threads are different, that doesn't help. All right, that's We're almost there, right? I mean, no, we got to put the clutch back on. That's the
Clutch
last
on,
thing.
Wires, and then that'll be.
Well, let's do the clutch, and then I think we can. People know how to put wires on.
yeah.
And I can end
Agreed.
it. And you got 2 minutes to do the clutch to keep it under 40 minutes.
Okay.
Not that it matters.
Do it. Do it. Do whatever you need to do.
Okay. Wait, we want to take some weights out. Remember, he was having that high stall speed thing.
Yeah.
Your flathead right here.
So explain. Hey, Dennis, can you explain real quick? What
Here's
is this?
weights. Here's the screw thing the plastic that holds the weights in. He said you had too many weights. Is that what you were complaining about?
Okay, so what's happening is when the engine was running, I'm all the way up at about
5.
$6 grand just before it'll move.
You want to do 2?
So
So you want
he's showing us what we have to do in order to bring the RPMs down so it'll start moving
so
faster.
that's add weights.
Is it?
Yeah, because the weight makes the puck go out.
Okay.
So the more weight, the quicker the puck's, centrifugal force forces them out and it engages.
Well, maybe his belt is the wrong size.
Oh.
Because
I
5
don't know,
weights.
it's a stock belt.
Well, you know what? Because the shaft
How
wasn't
many weights do
balanced.
you run?
Mine only has like 3 or 4 on it
Yeah.
though.
It might have been because the shaft wasn't balanced that the clutch was wobbling.
Maybe.
So,
Well, you want to try the 5 and see what it does with 5? Just
Well, that's
first.
what it has.
Let's just go run it.
Yeah. Okay. We'll put.
Let's leave it as is.
Okay, we'll leave it. We'll leave well enough alone and just try to work.
Okay, but I just learned how to change the weights.
Yeah. So there you go.
So
There
yeah.
you go.
It's easy.
And this thing can strip easy. You get a little plastic piece
Be
here. They
careful
charge
with them.
$8 for those, and that's the only when you can find them. So I'll be very careful
I
and
did bring
slow
some-
to make sure I don't strip that thread.
I brought spares of those
Piece
too.
of cake. It caught it easy.
I had to think
And
of
then
everything.
just snug. It's plastic, no high torque. Pop that in. Actually, not yet.
don't you have to do it
Clamp
to
it
all of them?
together.
Don't you have to change the weights?
Well, I
on
didn't
all?
change it.
You mean to
We
sit-
decided to leave it.
Oh, we're leaving it. Okay.
So we'll clamp this down.
Me to.
Okay. Try to tighten this down as evenly as possible. Switching sides.
Speaking of that,
It's hard to get 180. Trying to get opposite. But opposite, it's a triangle, so there is no
right,
opposite.
there is no opposite. Yeah.
Except out here, so that's where I'm trying to go to.
Okay.
Because it's not a lot of pressure, it's just more pressure than a hand can do. Come down to where the other side feels loose.
Yeah, it's all right. So far, I'm impressed. Like I said, I was like 3 months doing this.
Looking square. Yeah.
You ever had one of these pop off on
Don't even say it.
you? Am I jinxing it? I'm
It's gonna
sorry.
break my tooth.
I'm sorry.
But, I mean, it can. Obviously, it's spring loaded and I'm putting pressure. But if I'm paying attention, it shouldn't be too dangerous. Do you have any experience on how far down you crank it before you put it on the...
I do it flush.
Just flush right here,
Flush
okay.
right there.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah, just flush.
it's coming up right there. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, at this point, you don't put the... Well, we assemble it on the motor, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Go ahead.
Okay. Because this is where I'm lacking 35 years since I've done this.
Okay. Now on there.
Okay.
Seated. And then
Pucks.
pucks. We got 5 weights in each one.
Some of them have a guide
They
that
have
keeps the pucks from spinning.
Mhm.
Because you can see it wear here, the pucks have been spinning. It's not a deal breaker, but it's just the guides. That's what these rivet holes are for, is for the guides that keeps the pucks in line. So it's been working for him up till now, so we won't bother with the guided ones. But
Yeah.
I might send him one with the guides in it in case that helps him.
And it sits all the way down, and then I think that really should be torqued to like
A lot.
a lot. I got Loctite. You want to put some Loctite on it?
Yeah, these have come loose, and it causes a lot of damage if this comes loose and while it's operating at 8,000 RPM.
Does it go flying, or does it shred like the threads on the inside because it
The
starts
way it was
pulling?
described to me, because I've never seen it come loose, but the guy that had one come loose on it was a highly modified motor. The bolt came loose, the clutch wobbled like crazy. I think it snapped the bolt, and these parts flew up and damaged stuff.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
he said it scared the heck out of him and cost him a bunch of money from the stuff it damaged.
You gonna do
Might
red
have even knocked
Loctite?
the crank out of alignment.
He'll never get that off.
He doesn't need to.
Look at that.
Ah,
We just took it off.
just a little bit of Loctite.
Just a dab.
Just a little dab will do you. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah,
Just
little
a
dab.
Just a little.
All right.
A dab will do you. What is
All
this,
right.
grill
Do we
cream?
want to do Loctite or do we want to do the weed whacker oil?
Here we go.
Yep.
Okay, that's good.
Good to go.
That's good.
We got
You
90.
just have to finish your wiring harness thing,
All right.
and then put it back in the car and run it till it blows
All right.
up again.
So see, turn that thing and make sure it's true.
Yeah, suck the tails in.
Yep.
Is that looks
Yep, that's what we want.
looks good. Look at that, guys. All right. Well,
We knew what the hell we were doing.
so this is a 47-minute field change with the hands of we got Dennis Shaw here. Dennis, give us a wave. There's Dennis, and we got Carl
Tech.
Tech. Yep, goes by another name on the Facebook groups, but Carl Tech. Yeah, goes by Carl.
Yeah.
And this is Scott's Motors. So we're done, right?
Yep, we're
this
done.
is it. All right.
We're done. Back
All
down
right.
in the buggy now.
Great job, guys. Awesome.
Thank you.
That's it. Go home. Oh. She purrs.
It lives.
So you don't like that engagement then?
I thought it was
I don't know.
engagement.
Yeah.
I think what the problem is, that pipe's so loud, it just sounds like it's revving to the moon.
Now, just FYI, everybody, I have the Digitron here.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You bought the Digitron to run.
If you guys want to put a Digitron to see what your RPMs, see what your head temperature is, now it's at an angle and it comes underneath. Anyways, we can do your head temp and we can do your tap, but it's a weld on for the EGT.
I was kidding about zip tie with the wide open.
Bye. You gotta tell them. The pull of shame, unfortunately. After all that effort to rebuild that motor, got bit by a belt. Didn't realize that the belt is too tight, and unfortunately revved it up. Obviously, he started a little too fast. He should have taken a little easier, but you know, just in the excitement and everything. But what happened is as the clutch tightened up, it ended up putting too much pressure on the crankshaft. And that's what we're figuring out now is that's actually what happened to the first time too. So at least we know why it's happening, but it sucks to have that happen twice in a day. So we're gonna show you guys exactly what happened here and compare it so you guys can see.
His last run, when he started it, it bent the crank, right? So we were trying to figure out what he did. So we swapped our bottom ends and put, it had a straight crank in it again. He gets it out, takes off, makes it, 150 yards or whatever, and it just locks the buggy up and kicks the starter off. It stripped the bolts out of the housing and flung the starter off, and then hung the starter gears on the inside up against the starter and just locked the motor up. And what we think happened is he has got the wrong size belt on here because there's not enough free play in this belt. So what happens is as the belt engages and closes in and the belt rides up, it can only go so far on the face, and it stops it. And so the engine pulls against it and the clutch wants to pull against it. So it essentially, what it does, it takes the crank and clocks it like this. And that's what bends it and causes this failure. So we're thinking he's got the wrong belt on it. We're gonna take this off and measure to a stock, but I mean,
But couldn't that also be an issue with the rear part period? Because this is supposed to expand to allow the belt to sink into it when it's running.
if this is froze, where your clutches don't move and the cam doesn't, you know, drop in like it's
Because
supposed
you can
to.
see the cam riding down the ramp like it's supposed to. That's the wear marks here.
Is that fresh though?
Yeah, because it would have dust and stuff on it from when it was parked. So that's a fresh rub. So the cam is sliding down.
What's happening is
But with
the
too short a
RPMs
belt, it stops. And then it starts to pull on the...
The RPMs are coming up on the engine, causing the faces to move. The driven element, the back element, hasn't caught up and started to spread yet. So what it's doing is it's actually stretching or attempting to stretch the belt.
And it's not.
It's not stretching the belt. What's happening is it's bending the hell out of the crank. Because
Mine is basically the same setup, but I mean, I've got a heck of a lot more play, and mine, and it's, you know, it sits already, the belt comes halfway up the power block, just sitting here, you know, as it's coming down, and his is, you know, just straight line right towards the center of the clutch, and mine has a nice arc to it, and
But yours is, this is also way smaller.
it is a
than his.
smaller one, but it's the correct smaller belt, but his is just like a straight beeline right towards that clutch, and whether it should be a nice bow in it, or you've got, you know, probably 2 or 2.5 inches of free play, and his has maybe 1 if best, but we've got a stock one to throw to see if it is the wrong one.
Yeah, this guy right here. It's got the tab, so I don't know why it popped out.
The tab might have broke or something.
Well, the tab looks good. So it could have bent. There's a number of things that maybe...
Hot,
It might be hot.
sharp. Do you want to take that belt off? You wanna roll
But
that?
this little tab down in here came off of its locking point, and this is slid out. And he also doesn't have the stoppers that keeps this from rotating, you know.
Which we need to get on
Yeah. So when you do that, take it apart again, make sure you get the ones I'll send you or something.
Can we get this?
Because normally this is where the stoppers are, and this puck would be riding over here where there's no holes. These rivet holes are for the stoppers. I could even just send you the stoppers and you could rivet them in yourself.
Air filter.
let me pull the air filter so we can get the belt off.
And let's compare it, because these.
That one's locked in. See how this tab is locked in right here behind that point?
Yeah.
The other one came out for some reason. That I don't know why. See what the other one looks like.
That's pretty dang close.
Just to get a.
No, you can see that, like, line up the teeth and they're going to be the same. They don't come off. They're as they're up from around, they're still aligned.
No.
Somewhere they're
He's
starting to come
got
off.
more teeth here, the little teeth compared to the big
I'm
ones.
gonna see if I can find a string that wrap around the outside perimeter.
Well, yeah, you can, but I'm thinking it's dang close. This one is Scott's current ride. This is unfortunately, I don't know what you want to say about it, Scott.
She's a dead stick.
She's a dead stick.
Yeah, two bent cranks today. Yeah, something serious going on, but we'll get it figured out. I promise you.
Yeah. It rips pretty hard. He was hauling tail with it. Of course, this has the rear suspension on it, and there's the motor and everything. It's missing the air filter right now, but we have to take that off to kind of do some work. So that's not how it runs.